Now that you got the camera fitted, now we need to glue the fuselage halves together. Now, again, a couple different ways here to do this here, but I really enjoy building with CA with foam. I like the fact that it dries real quick, and I can be a little bit impatient sometimes, so I like the glue to dry quick. What I've done is I've gone and, like I mentioned before, I've lined up these rear pieces perfectly, pinned them together, pinned the fuselage half together, you know, making sure it fits nice and true. Put pin here, pin there, so I just kind of got it glued. So we're just going to take advantage of the fact that foam is real flexible, and we can do this in sections to keep it kind of accurate. So all we're going to do is we're going to do these one at a time. We're going to pull this pin out here, and we'll take our CA, and because the foam is real flexible, we're going to put our CA that, and then we're going to join these pieces back up just like they were before. Pin that together, making sure that's 100% flush. And this is flush. Give it a second to kick off. Same thing to this side. We'll just pull this one out. Raise this up. Put our CA in there. Make sure everything lines up flush again. Now, what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of weight that a little bit. That's too much weight. We don't need that much weight. That pack looks pretty good. We're going to give those two pieces a chance to dry, and then after that, all we're simply going to do is just, when this dries here, we're just going to hold it, lift this up a little bit, put our CA in there around the top to the bottom, and glue it all together like that. I've got the rear glued down. I've made sure that's dried. Some of the stuff, I kind of like this stuff I get from Woodcraft. This is it's got long application time, and it helps the kicker. It makes it really easy. So here we go. Got the rear done, so we're just going to kind of do this in sections because it will end up nice and tight. We're going to take this to the end right there. Kind of squish it back and forth a little bit, just get the CA out. A little bit. We'll kick it in there. Right now I've got it glued up to this line here. So now we're going to do the rest of it all in one shot. So we should be able to easy parts first here. So some CA there, which is just up front. And make sure you get all of the coat as best as possible. That side there. There we go. Put it back together a couple times like that. Kind of spread it around. Kicker in there. And we'll just line it up. Okay. And just like that, we have the fuselage glued up, perfectly straight, perfectly strong, and with CA, no added weight. That's what I like about CA. Now that we've got the spars glued in the fuselage, next thing we're going to do is we're going to mount the firewall. The way we're going to do this, you're going to take the wing center section, which will be in a small block like this. This is why we hadn't done the wing first yet, because we need to use this piece in order to do the fuselage. And we're going to take a piece of wax paper. You could use saran wrap or something like that. I'm going to put it over the end here. The reason is we're going to glue this firewall on. We need to pull the tail end of this thing down, pull it close so the firewall mounts up. We can't just do that with it kind of loose. So we're going to go ahead and put the wing saddle in, or the wing center section in, with a piece of wax paper over it. So when we glue this, it doesn't glue that on. And now we need to just secure this together like that. So to do that, we're just going to use some masking tape. I'm sure you could probably take a rubber band and wrap it around if you want to do that. But the whole idea here is real simply, as we're pulling the rear of this fuselage together. Oops, too much tape there. I'm going to pull the rear of this fuselage together where it's closed. And now the firewall should fit right on here. So next, what we're going to do is to glue this firewall on. I need to make sure this is all nice and flush, which it should be. Because when we put this firewall on there, that firewall is going to be dead straight perpendicular onto the center line of the fuselage. And we're going to use 5-minute epoxy. We've got some old 5-minute epoxy here, kind of older ones. We're going to use that. Go ahead and pause the tape, or pause the video. And we're just going to apply some 5-minute epoxy, and we're just going to hold this in place. What I did on the firewall is I drew a center line. These holes go vertical, because what's going to happen after we get this on there, we're going to drill some holes in there and put some dowels in there. The center dowel is going to have the is where the dowel is going to stick out, so we can line up the stab on it. But for right now, we just need to glue this on. Now we've got our epoxy thoroughly mixed up here. I'm going to simply do apply it to both the fuselage and the firewall, so we get a good bond. Again, this is just regular old, this is just 5-minute epoxy. Works really good. Now we got a pretty good coat on there. Now we're just going to take our center lines, which we marked there, and we're just going to place these, obviously right in the center, like that. And to secure this, I'm just going to take a piece of masking tape, stand up here. Go to the center. Again, make sure we got our lines lined up, top and bottom. Get the firewall centered. Stuff will start thickening up for you, which kind of helps you out do this. And then when you get it centered, we're just going to pull this tape over. And just kind of eyeball it. Just take a little tighter. And then the 5-minute epoxy gives you a little bit of working time. You can line this stuff up, pull it in tight. There, and once you get it lined up and the tape on there, then just let it harden for 10-15 minutes, and then with that we'll remove this intersection. So epoxy's had a chance to set up. What you should have this is the reason why we put the wax paper, so we can slide the center section out so it can get glued in. And now, this thing is, the firewall's on there, and it is perfectly mounted to the center line. You can take a knife. Now this is the prototype. It's a tad wider. The fuselage should probably fit pretty much closer to the firewall. But if it doesn't, you can always take a knife, sharp knife, and trim this down a little bit. Now we're just going to set this aside for later on, and we're going to get started on the wing next.